It was a real collaborative process from the very beginning. So working with Meharry, with Lamel Bandy Neal from Meharry, Don Harden, who was their project representative, was great. Uh, Hawkins Partners, Little John Engineering, we just put together a great team, and it wasn't like the architect designed something first, then they came behind and figured out their parts of it. We worked together on all of it. So starting with the idea of the macro context that you're coming over, say from the south, and it was a pretty expansive, almost wasteland feeling space when you come over the railroad tracks and the interstates, and so the idea of creating something that was almost an anchor and an icon for that neighborhood and for the campus as you approach the Meharry Medical Campus was kind of an undercurrent in our minds, and it was a real surprise actually once the building started going up to see what an impact they did have three-dimensionally on the neighborhood. And then sustainability was a really important piece of it. It's not a lead project. But it's a project where we used no VOC paints. We've got the entire parking lot is porous pavers. Instead of a little nod towards doing a few porous pavers because it's a lead point, they made the commitment to do the entire parking lot out of porous pavers as a way to mitigate water issues, because that neighborhood had some poor stormwater infrastructure, which Meharry also spent a lot of money to replace for the city. And then in terms of design excellence, we worked really hard to do something that fit the neighborhood, that people driving by, people that that will live there, just members of that community, of the Meharry medical community. The idea that this is something really special, that it belongs in this place, that the materials are appropriate for that setting. We tried to make it not look like an apartment that was being done all over Nashville, which I'm worried is something that happens a lot these days, and that so many of the apartments look the same. It was about really creating a place that you wouldn't put those buildings somewhere else. They were designed for the public facades. They were designed for the internal, kind of more private community of the residents. And then just dealing with multiple scales and a palette of a couple of materials, trying to make a really interesting feeling, warm environment. The first challenge, I think Meharry decided to do these apartments because they saw a lot of their medical residents and their medical faculty living off campus. Some live in Bellevue, some live in the Gulch. And when they came to us with their RFP, the challenge was we wanted to create something that has the same character and feel of the Gulch apartments, but have it right here on campus, so that instead of spending 20 minutes, half hour each way every day driving to a suburban apartment in Bellevue, they're able to be right there and walk to and from work. So that was a really important piece of it. One of the most surprising things is just the view that you get of it, and how, again, it anchors the neighborhood. I think that's really key. It was also a big surprise. I mean, you don't really want to meet this as an architect, but when we walked up even to the second floor when they were framing it and saw the views, it was like, wow. In terms of people wanting great views in buildings like Terrazzo and 1212 in the Gulch, that these are $1 million views. Well, I mean, this apartment is full of just amazing views of the city and the neighborhood around it. It's, one thing I see in a lot of places is kind of the need for self-confidence or confidence in a neighborhood that, I guess just by the nature of our practice, we've done a lot of first projects, the first projects in the Gulch, first projects, in just a lot of different areas that other architects necessarily aren't, or developers aren't working in. And so this was really our first project in terms of this 100 housing units right here on a major arterial that hasn't had that kind of development in a long time. So that idea that we could do a project that will give private developers confidence to come and do more projects like that, I think we'll see a lot of things happening. One of the discussions we had, we tried to encourage them to have a retail spot on the corner for coffee, and and there was still a concern I think on the campus's part about safety for the residents. They've got the responsibility of making sure the residents are secure, and I think over time that we'll see very quickly a lot more retail and restaurant type uses along the streets right there, that it's not going to be isolated in the way that it used to be.